Hi Luke, great session again yesterday. Just a quick recap on the key points covered. First of all, at setup, put a bit of flex in the right knee. The right knee tends to get a little bit too straight at setup, causing it to extend or straighten at too quick a rate during the backswing. Other than that, we're making some pretty good moves. You can see top right there, that backswing position so much better than it was 18 months ago. Top of the backswing controlled better. The big issue is how deep the hands go from P4 to P5, and then from P5 to P6, continuing to stay deep. You can see the head coming off the wall, so there's an early extension or a failure to return to flexion, which I think is a more appropriate way of you working on this. So we've got to learn to flex forward properly. If you recall the graphs that I showed you earlier today, the player is going to be flexed forward at address. He's then going to extend to say 0 at the backswing. He's then going to flex forward from P4 to P6. The upper body, the thoracic, should be moving back into forward flexion, back into the address flex, before then fully extending from P6 onwards. So the sequence is extension to P4, returning to forward flexion by P6, and then fully extending P6 and beyond. So on this one, we've got a failure to return to flexion. You can see the head coming up and back. Added to that, there's a little drop of the hands as well, so accumulator 4 is working down. So you see the hands there working down towards the foot line. Just going to put a few dots on there to trace that. So accumulator 4 working down too much. And it's a sort of almost like a chicken and egg scenario. If accumulator 4 moved down or out towards the target line more, then that would also help keep you flex forward or keep you on the wall. Or flexing forward more would help accumulator 4 work out a little bit more. We don't want it working out excessively, but we'd like to see the hands work a little bit more out, basically down the red line rather than down those red dots. So what we've got here now is you trying to maintain forward flexion. You can see when you do that, the hands now are tracing the red line a little bit more. So this is you trying to pull it to the left. So in other words, come over the top of it a little bit was the sensation. Flexing forward. And you can see there's a little bit more of a trend where the butt of the club or the hands are working a little bit more out towards the red line. Remember, the hands should come straight back down elbow plane from P4 to P7. So a little bit better at that point. If we don't do it, what we end up with is the widest circumference possible. And that's what we're trying to tidy up. We're trying to get this arm much tighter and more in line, excuse me, with the right thigh, creating a tighter swing radius, allowing you to make more solid contact and draw the ball more consistently. In regards to your email last night on my way home about what you should actually be working on, this drill here, head against the wall but concentrating on P4 to P6, back into flexion. So the red lines I've put on the screen there are your tilted address. You can see there now, as you come down from P4 to P5, there's no dropping of the hands. From P4 to P5, the hips are back into flexion. From P5 to P6, the thoracic is now back into flexion, should I say. So hips or pelvis and thoracic back into flexion by P6. Also the right knee, so we're going to go Right knee and pelvis back into flexion, thoracic back into flexion. Just run that through a couple of times for you. P4 to P6. That's your focal point. P4 to P6. From there you can extend the hell out of it as much as you want. You're just going to hit it higher, further and straighter. And we'll take a little look from a different angle. Just going to get rid of those lines. Straight line up from the notch of your belt. What was the relationship that the upper body had at the dress, or maybe a degree or two tilt to the right? You can see there, that's the extension piece that you're seeing right there. Side bend to the left. Then as we go back from there, from the P4 to P5 and P6, back into flexion. As you can see now, the body's returned back into its original position, where the sternum and the belt buckle are in line with one another, as opposed to what we're seeing here, where the belt buckle is way further away from your target than your sternum. So that's the extension that you're seeing in the gold swing, the standing up piece. The tilt to the left offsets the standing up. You stood up, you've tilted to the left, therefore you've maintained your inclination. Flexing forward. P4 to P6, return to forward flexion. Hopefully that's cleared things up for you. Good luck with it, and look forward to seeing your progress over the coming weeks. Well done.